man who straight up says Biden committed treason and should be killed. They're briefly interrupted by an argument in the background. It was just like a total circus atmosphere. Let's just jump right into what is extraordinarily disturbing content.
Tell me 3 Democratic policies that you support.
Inflation Reduction Act, American Rescue Plan, the Infrastructure Law, the PACT Act, the Chips and Science Act. I think it's good that Biden pulled out of Afghanistan. I can go on.
No, I get it. Wow.
The guy is disgusted that Luke is naming policies, I guess.
Okay, would you like to talk about the
Smart, intelligent young man.
pullout of Afghanistan?
Why did you feel bothered that I just listed policies I think are good?
Because
I think it's great that he lowers prescription drug costs.
you don't know enough about those policies.
So one of them in the Inflation Reduction Act is capping the cost of insulin for Medicare recipients at $35 out of pocket per month. And I think that's really good. I don't think seniors should be having themselves price gouged. And then also now Medicare can negotiate drug prices. They rolled out the first 10 medications they're going to negotiate.
This man, he ain't yet.
Public vulgarity is a misdemeanor.
So now Medicare will negotiate drug prices. I think that's really good because of Joe Biden and Democrats.
Don't worry about it.
I think Joe Biden is an illegitimate president. I think the election was stolen, and I think he's going to be killed for his treason.
That escalates very quickly. The guy says to Luke, all right, well, if Biden's so good, can you name a single policy you like? Yeah, here's 5. Forget about policy. He should be killed. They continue talking, and the guy explains, all about Biden's treason, for which he should be killed.
Election was stolen. I'm assuming that's part of the treason.
Well, that is treason. Election interference is treason.
Right, so you agree, though,
Yeah.
Right.
in no official capacity has that been proven.
You can't prove a negative.
So he drops in, you're an S-head to Luke. Of course, this completely ignores burden of proof. If one believes that the election was stolen, then they presumably believe it because of some evidence which they should be able to present. And if they believe it just because they feel it was stolen but have no evidence, then that is not really something the legal system can work with.
You cannot prove something that
No, I'm
you can't
saying-
say it's been proven that it did not happen.
I'm saying that if there indeed was this widespread voter fraud that stole the election from Trump, we have a legal process where you can bring that
That's
to court.
right. And Mike
And
Pence
even
was supposed
Trump,
to do that, and he didn't.
even Trump-appointed judges said, "Matt, nothing here."
We'll see.
That's what happened 60 plus times.
We'll see.
What does that mean?
We'll see if it's adjudicated. I mean, afterwards they might want to go back. And
No, but I'm saying,
It's been adjudicated, but they just might go back and re-adjudicate all those cases. Why? I don't know. They just might.
now 3 years away from the
I
election?
know you think it would have happened by now, right? They think something would have been done about this.
Maybe.
He's arguing that everything's A-OK, nothing to see here.
All right, some
Election
other
was
guy
stolen.
then
I'm assuming
jumps
that's part
in.
of-
And things are going haywire. So this is really tough to deal with these folks. Luke next spoke to a guy wearing a T-shirt that has Trump's mugshot on it that says "Never Surrender." Luke points out Trump did surrender. He literally surrendered at Fulton County Jail, and this one's really a doozy.
You want to explain the shirt?
Oh, yeah, well, never surrender. That's what Trump is saying he's not going to do. I mean, he's been indicted for crimes that he didn't commit.
I have to point out, he did surrender technically at the Fulton County Jail, right?
He did abide by the law as required by the law, yeah. I mean, I think he's setting a good example for our country by doing
He will never surrender other than when he was right to surrender.
that.
But then abiding by the law as being interpreted by the prosecutors would mean not doing what he did that they're prosecuting him for, right?
Could you repeat that? There was noise behind it.
I also agree that individuals should abide by the law, and prosecutors are alleging that he broke the law in his actions in relation to trying to overthrow the election and classify documents and some other things.
Yeah, I mean, I think the charges against him are laughable and ridiculous.
This esteemed legal expert does not buy these charges. He's putting us on notice. Good for him.
Why would they have brought these charges against him right in the middle of a campaign? It's election interference. If it was actually anything that had to do with reality, they would have done it long ago.
It takes a while to do an investigation, right?
Well, really? I mean,
So this gets back to no matter when they would have brought the charges, these folks would have complained. And it's sort of by design. I mean, Trump announcing so early that he's running for re-election to create a situation where any charges that are brought in as Trump is a candidate. And if we said, okay, let's wait and let the 2024 election happen, Trump wins and becomes president. Oh, well, now he's president. Now you definitely can't bring the charges. But even if Trump loses in 2024, listen, he's now just an old man who is out of politics. Why go after him now? That would also be wrong. No matter when the charges would be brought, they would say this. And most importantly, there is not actually any evidence that the timing was calculated beyond simply how much time do we need to do these investigations, and investigations of different durations being completed at different points in time. There may be future indictments. There could be another federal indictment. There could be one out of Arizona. There's discussions of Michigan. We don't know. There is no evidence at this time that anyone has presented of Joe Biden's involvement, nor of the idea that it was timed specifically to hurt Donald Trump. We go to the next guy. Here's a guy who is asked about impeachment. He's just clueless. There's really no other way to say it. He just doesn't know what's going on, but he's very certain that he is right.
What evidence do you have to bolster the idea that this isn't just a fair prosecution based on violations of the law?
They have no evidence to support it.
The indictments lay out.
Trying to impeach him so many times, and he doesn't get impeached.
Well, he got impeached, but this isn't impeachment. This is prosecution.
What?
Huh?
This is unrelated to impeachment. This is a prosecution.
It's because they don't want him to win. They know he's going to win again.
Right.
But in, for example, the classified documents indictment, it lays out violations of the law as being alleged in the indictment.
Uh-huh.
And so you're saying those don't exist, or they don't actually violate the law, or what's going on there?
I don't think they exist.
So, like the audio tape of Trump saying that he has a classified document, and it's I could have declassified it, but I can't anymore because I'm no longer president.
What that Biden's son's been doing with Ukraine?
Well, there hasn't been evidence
This is whataboutism now. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no defense to it. Here's something different.
to prove that something illegal went on in between Joe Biden and Hunter Biden.
There hasn't, because that's Biden.
But Hunter Biden did something illegal with the gun. He's being prosecuted for it.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Doesn't know what's going on, but they vote. Here's conspiracy guy who says Alex Jones told him in the 90s that in 2014 Obama would send the virus somewhere to generate lockdowns in 2020. It's very difficult to follow.
Alex Jones warned me on video of the virus they were going to use to destroy the country in the late 90s. So he gave me a lot of time to prepare for all you guys.
They were going to... Me? I didn't create the vaccine.
Young, but
I was concocting the vaccine in the 90s before I was born.
no, but I mean, you're all about whatever you're about.
So, who created the virus?
I hope you're sitting down for this.
2014, they shipped it over there. I guess UNC, Fauci handed it, the NIH, CDC, FDA.
So Fauci wanted to start COVID because
Obama moved the vaccine over.
Obama wanted to start COVID.
Well, he was the president in 2014, right?
Okay, and what would be the end goal there?
Oh, to lock down the country.
You might think you know Snapchat, but do you? Don't you understand? Fauci planned the virus in the 90s. Obama shipped it to China, I guess, in 2014 in order to lock down the country. Except the lockdowns, to the extent that they happened, took place under Trump's watch. Trump actually, quote, locked down the country. This is some very, very wild stuff. And what's important to remember is we're not ridiculing when we say these people vote. If we don't vote, we cede the power to determine who represents us: president, Senate, House of Representatives, mayors, governors, city council. These folks decide. And it's not about making fun of this guy, although there's a lot of material there. It's about, if we don't vote, they decide. And that's crazy. Here's more from the same guy.
I think it's important not to intertwine a bunch of conspiracy theories about what the machines are doing. No, I'm saying we can have a conversation about do we want machines or do we not, but that should be connected to a bunch of defamation against companies like Dominion.
Defamation? Oh, yeah, I'm going to sue them. I'm going to sue them for destroying my election.
Okay? And why do you think Fox News, which could have been a defense for the defamation lawsuit.
Oh, fixed news.
So, by the way, he's now against now Fox News is fixed news.
Say Fox News. Fixed news, yeah. What about him?
Why wouldn't they have just gone into court and proved that the machines were stealing the election from Trump?
It was a payoff to Dominion for $700 million. Yeah.
No, because they settled.
So think about what Luke is pointing out something very important, which is there's a defense to defamation, which is showing the truth of the things you said. The reason that Fox News was sued and ultimately settled for $787.5 billion was that they did not apparently feel they had at their disposal, as a defense to the defamation claim from Dominion, that Dominion voting machines really did the things that were alleged on air. If Fox News had proof of that, they could have made that case. So Luke says they could have avoided that huge payout, nearly $800 million, just by proving the voting machines really did the thing that you're saying. And the guy says, well, no, that's because it was a payoff to Dominion. Well, but they wouldn't have needed to do the payoff if they demonstrated that the thing really just over the guy's head.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that
Martha McCallum and them ran cover, and then they said Trump lost. And it was a payoff. It was a backdoor payoff.
So here's what happened. On election night, they ran cover for the election being stolen. Then after election night, they pushed conspiracy theories about the election being stolen, the opposite of what they did on election night. And then after that, they flipped around and admitted they were lying to protect themselves legally, and they had to settle with Dominion.
I don't know what Fox News did.
Oh, that's genius. At the end of it all, when it all falls apart, he's like, hey, listen, I don't know what the hell they did. It's anyone's guess what they did. Here's the last guy. This guy tries to pull out some election fraud nonsense on Luke. Luke's ready for it. Doesn't go well.
For example, Trump's attempts to overturn the election, wrong. So to protest against that, I would say would be correct, right?
Well, you're saying that he tried to overturn an election. What election are you trying to say you overturned? 2020? So you haven't heard anything about election fraud that's happening at all?
Well, I look to all the recounts, investigations, audits, and court cases.
If you watched the Georgia election, did you see where they pulled the ballots out from under the cabinet?
And they realized that was
they scanned them and rescanned them and rescanned them. You know that lady got arrested, right?
Don't you think if that actually happened? I know a lot of people are suing for defamation because of lies about people like that. No.
Yeah, she definitely got arrested.
Ruby Freeman?
Ruby, yeah, she definitely got arrested.
It turned out that even Giuliani acknowledged he was lying.
True.
He lost the defamation case, and in that case, he had to concede that he was not correct about those statements about Ruby Freeman.
Oh, no, she's definitely been arrested.
She hasn't.
And it is true. It is absolutely true what Luke Beasley is saying. He even had the proof up on the screen during this. So what are the takeaways here? The takeaways here are numerous, but the most important actionable one, I get that these videos are a combination of sort of entertaining disaster porn, but also potentially the last gasps of American democracy, as these are the people who are glad to look the other way or even participate when it comes to saying, hey, you know what? The guy who lost should become president, which is one of the most dangerous things that you can do to a democracy. So the most important practical takeaway is we all need to vote, because when we don't vote, these are the people who decide. But that, of course, isn't enough. And we need to fix critical thinking. Even though these people might not want everybody to have health care, we still have to work to get everybody health care. Even though these folks don't want to fix education, we still have to work to fix education and do something about the climate. So the takeaway is we don't want this to be the group of folks that guides the country and influences policy and decides who represents us. So as demoralizing as it can be to see this, it should actually be a reminder to get engaged. And on that note, make sure you're following Luke, davidpakman.com/Luke. We are ramping up an election season here, maybe the most important one I will have ever covered. Make sure you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. 3.5 million of you in the last month watched my clips, but are not subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 2 million. Let's do this thing. We've got to continue building independent media, because what we're doing quite literally is fighting against these folks being the ones who decide. We can't have that. And every time you subscribe to this channel, to Luke's channel, to other progressive channels, you're taking a half step in that direction. Quick break. So